So today, we're going to dive into a really different approach to manifestation, one that's drawn from Adrian Stout's incredible work, Tapping into Reflection. You know that feeling when you hear the just think positive advice and it doesn't quite land for you? If that's you, then you are in exactly the right place. Let's get into it.
Okay, so the book kicks off with this really powerful dedication, and right away, it creates this space for anyone who knows deep in their gut that you can't just think your way out of these deeply ingrained nervous system patterns. It reframes the whole issue. It's not about you not thinking positively enough. No, it's about a deep, fundamental need for your body to feel safe.
And this just gets right to the heart of the problem, doesn't it? I mean, you can stand there and repeat, I am worthy or I am abundant 100 times, but your stomach is just tied up in knots, right? That's your body screaming a completely different message. And that's the disconnect we're going to be talking about. So, why does this happen? Why do these tools that work for so many people sometimes feel so hollow? Well, it really all boils down to that mind-body disconnect. Most of the traditional approaches, they only focus on changing your thoughts, and they kind of just assume your body will, get the memo and fall in line. But it doesn't always work that way, does it? And here is such a powerful reframe from the book. That resistance you might feel when you try to force a positive thought, the book makes it so clear. That is not a personal failure. That's your nervous system doing its job, trying to protect you based on everything you've been through. You're not broken. You've just been trying to brute force it, when what your system is actually craving is a gentle invitation to change.
And this brings us to this huge idea in trauma work, often called the body keeps the score. And what it means is that our unprocessed experiences, our traumas, they get stored somatically. And what that means is they're literally stored in our physical bodies. So if we want to create real, lasting change, we can't just talk to our brains. We need what's called a bottom-up approach. We have to start by communicating with the body first.
And this slide, wow, it just lays it out so perfectly. You see, the top-down approach, that's your classic positive thinking. Just change your thoughts. But the bottom-up approach, and this is what this work is all about, it flips the script. It focuses on creating that feeling of safety in the body first, because it's only when your body feels safe that your mind can actually truly open up and accept these new, more expansive beliefs. So how in the world do we actually speak to our bodies? Well, the first tool the book gives us is EFT tapping. And honestly, you can think of it like having a direct conversation with your nervous system, but you're using a language it actually understands, physical touch and rhythm. So EFT, or emotional freedom techniques, is basically a form of psychological acupressure. What you do is you tap on these specific points on your body while you talk about a feeling or a belief you're working through. And this combination is so cool because it sends two totally competing signals to your brain at the same time. And look, the science on this is actually really compelling. Get this. One randomized controlled trial showed that a single session of EFT tapping can slash cortisol, that's our main stress hormone, by up to 43%. 43% in one session. That is a massive physiological shift. Okay, so let's get into how this actually works in your brain. So when you think a stressful thought, your amygdala, which is kind of like your brain's alarm system, it just lights up. But at the exact same time, by tapping on these meridian points you see here, you're sending a physical, hey, calm down, we're safe signal to that very same part of the brain. So your brain is getting two messages at once. I'm stressed from the thought, and I'm safe from the tapping. And that conflict helps it reprocess that old trigger and realize, hey, maybe this isn't so threatening after all. All right, so that's tapping. Let's move on to the second core tool from the book, which really builds on that foundation of safety. It's called mirror work, and it's a practice all about helping you cultivate self-compassion and build a more honest and real relationship with yourself. Now, the practice itself sounds so simple, right? You just look at yourself in the mirror. But don't let that fool you. The goal here is incredibly profound. It's about being able to hold your own gaze long enough to start chipping away at those walls of self-judgment and avoidance and just create a little bit of space for some real self-connection. Okay, but let's be real for a second. This can be incredibly hard. And the book is super clear about this. It really acknowledges all the common barriers. I mean, for a lot of us, looking at ourselves can bring up this wave of shame or discomfort, or maybe just nothing, just emotional numbness. And that urge you get to just look away, that's not you failing, that's a protective mechanism kicking in. So the absolute key here is to start gently. You don't jump straight to, I love you. No way. You can start with super short sessions, like just a minute or two. And you use neutral language, something as simple as, "This is me." You can even put a hand on your heart to physically ground yourself. The whole point is to slowly, gently build up your tolerance for self-connection. You never, ever force it. Okay, so now we have these two really powerful tools, right? One to calm the body's stress response, and one to build self-connection. So now, let's put it all together and see how the book shows us how to weave them into a truly trauma-informed manifestation practice. This is where the magic really happens. You're actually using EFT tapping while you're doing the mirror work. The tapping is what calms your nervous system down, which helps quiet all that anxiety or shame that bubbles up when you're looking in the mirror. And that creates the perfect receptive state for your mind to actually absorb and believe these new, kinder things you're telling yourself. So, what does this practice actually look like? Here it is, step by step. First, you just ground yourself. Take a few deep breaths, get comfortable in front of a mirror. Next, you just look into your own eyes and notice what you feel. Whatever comes up, you just acknowledge it, no judgment. Then, for step 3, you actually start tapping through the points on that feeling of discomfort, maybe saying something like, "this feeling," or "this discomfort." And it's only after you feel that emotional intensity start to settle that you introduce those gentle, believable affirmations. And this quote is the perfect example of what a softened affirmation looks like. Look, if saying "I love myself" feels like a total lie, your body is literally going to reject it. You'll feel it. But what about a phrase like, "I'm open to the possibility of being worthy"? That's honest. It meets you exactly where you are. And that honesty is what makes your nervous system go, "Okay, I can work with that. This feels safe." And when you boil it all down, this whole approach comes back to this one final, really powerful idea. This isn't about being perfect at manifesting. It's not about forcing yourself to believe things that feel fake. It's just about showing up for yourself over and over with as much compassion as you can muster. So I'll leave you with this question, straight from the book. What might change for you if safety, not force, became the foundation for everything you desire?